Oh baby, you know what time it is. It's time for Hey Datto, what you crafting? And this time, we're talking about the raid weapons from Val the Disciple. Let's go. Much like the first crafting video, I'm not going to be too focused on the enhanced versions of perks, since you are naturally going to upgrade to them at some point, and most of the enhanced perks simply increase the duration of said perk. We will start with the SMG Submission. While this does have a lot of newer perks on the weapon, including raid-exclusive perks like Bait and Switch and Sleight of Hand, I don't think either of them are good for the purposes of PvE. Bait and Switch is a lot of work for a 20% damage increase when we can simply get Frenzy, which requires us to just fight stuff. And we also get reload speed and handling increases on top of the 15% bonus damage, which just stays on the whole time that you're fighting. Sleight of Hand is much more of a PvP perk in my eyes, but if you like those stat gains, I'm certainly not going to steer you away from them. Ultimately, stuff like Overflow and Subsistence will yet again be my picks for PvE, with Frenzy, Swash, and Demolitionist being the options in the second main perk column. Pretty typical stuff here. Range is always fine on SMGs. Accurized rounds are a fine choice, along with Arrowhead Break for that recoil control, but Corkscrew also works as well, just for some blanket stat increases. I'm probably just going with Sub Frenzy for PvE unless I want to do some grenade stuff in the future, which I very rarely do because I just use other stuff for that. PvP-wise, it feels like there's a decent amount of choices here, but nothing seems super over the top. So I'm hesitant to suggest something outright, especially since I haven't really touched PvP since the Witch Queen launched. Perpetual Motion and Killing Wind. You know, if I need to say something right now, maybe Overflow instead of Motion if you're a special ammo fiend. Then we have Deliverance, the kinetic slot Stasis Fusion. Quite the weapon here, with some options to boot. Chill Clip isn't something I have a ton of experience with just yet, mainly because I have not been able to get it to drop on this gun until recently, but so far, I like it. In higher end content where things don't die as easily, a couple of shots on a tankier target will basically AoE freeze anything surrounding it, which is great because you can focus damage on a big target and then nuke all the little ones when they freeze. I see people comboing this with Compulsive Reloader, which makes a lot of sense. You want to be reloading often to keep Chill Clip active. If you're looking for just raw output, I think something like Demolitionist and Successful Warm-Up or Adrenaline Junkie can work pretty well. Demo Adrenaline gives a bit of synergy there, although getting 5 kills to get to maximum stacks of Adrenaline Junkie, not really the play, which is where Demolitionist would come in. You get that grenade kill first, and then you go for the big damage. But I don't really think of fusions as ad clear type weapons. They're more for chunkier targets, which are likely to require more hits to kill, which means kill-based perks lose that effectiveness that they have. But this kind of thinking would mean that the vast majority of perks on this weapon are not actually good, though, and I don't think that's true. Heating Up turns your fusion into a laser. Successful Warm-Up is a great perk as well. Even that combo itself is quite potent. You have a lot of options. You aren't always going to be using a fusion against a beefy target. Tap the Trigger for PvP, even with its nerf, still not a bad choice. I don't know how good a Sleight of Hand and Harmony build would work here, but it does seem pretty interesting. You get a kill with the primary, you swap to the fusion, and get 20% bonus damage, bonus handling to swap quickly, and bonus stability, and reload. That seems like a guaranteed kill if you get the shot off, but again, I have not used this combo, so feel free to sound off in the comments and tell me that I'm wrong. I think people like to build special weapons to be aggressive, like you like to set the tone, as opposed to trying to react to something, which is the exact opposite of Sleight of Hand and Harmony. But most perks here on this weapon are based on getting a kill. Perpetual Motion and Tap the Trigger are 2 of 4 perks that don't require a hit or a kill in order to activate. The other 2 being Cornered and Surrounded, which have great synergy, but I personally do not like because of the very strict conditions that you need to hit. If I'm crafting one for PvP, I guess it's Perpetual and Tap the Trigger because they're always going to be there. PvE, it's either Heating Up and Successful Warm-Up, or Compulsive and Chill Clip because I reload like a maniac. Next up, we have Insidious, and this is probably going to be a much faster section because it's a pulse rifle, and pulse rifles are pretty figured out by now. Solid amount of options here depending on your personal preference. First main column has Rapid Hit, Stats for All, Dragonfly, and or Demolitionist. Not often we see Dragonfly in the first column. That's pretty interesting. You can pair any of those with One for All, Adrenaline Junkie, or Rampage. All of these perks will mesh well with each other. I really don't think you can mess up here like at all. Adaptive Munitions would be a great perk if Arbalest did not exist, although I'm sure there are conditions in the game somewhere where you don't have Arbalest on, but you need to tackle multiple shields. Probably some solo content there. That's probably more what it's designed for. The perk might as well say you get to ignore match game. I've been using Rapid Hit and Rampage in GMs. I have not been able to craft one yet. I just kind of got lucky in the raid. But Rapid Hit Rampage is a classic combo. You can never go wrong with it. And again with Vorpal, I'm not a Vorpal on primary kind of guy. I am not using my primary on targets that would take advantage of Vorpal unless I am super desperate, in which I have a whole other problem, or I'm in PvP. Speaking of PvP, most of these recommendations are going to stand true. Minus Stats and One for All, probably minus Dragonfly. I'm probably just rolling with Rapid Hit Rampage there as well. Maybe heating up, but eh. Accurized rounds, again, here for range. You could also go with the mag perk, that's fine too. And I love Arrowhead for the recoil control. Next up, we got Lubrae's Ruin. Oh boy, the legendary glaive. Well, I'm still working on my exotic glaive video, but let's just say I'm not really enthused by the idea of using glaives in endgame group content. Grave Robber and Swash seem like the play for low and mid-tier content. The problem is that while Grave Robber works now, Swashbuckler does not apply to melee kills, which pushes me towards Surrounded? Oh, what's that? Surrounded doesn't work with the melee either? Great. No impulse amplifier on this thing either. That is kind of unfortunate. Immovable object is fine if you're trying to be a shielded Omega tank for a long time, but I'm not really that crazy about the you can't move part. Unstoppable Force seems like the thing to pair it with, kind of why they're named the way they are, but with Unstoppable Force, I don't like that the perk is only active while your shield is active. The moment you drop your shield, it's gone. I want to take that buff with me for a couple seconds. I have not used a glaive in PvP literally once, so I'm not at liberty to say what'll work and what won't, but I'm vibing Steady Hands to quick swap if you get a kill, or Killing Wind because it's basically the only other thing that's there. Unstoppable Force and a stab is a kill, but you know it's also a kill? Just a regular glaive shot and a stab. So I don't even know what to put in the second column here. I had no idea. Maybe Wellspring, I guess. I truly don't know. Mag perks for PvE, range perks for PvP seem like the strat unless you're running Grave Robber. If I make a Lubrae's, I'm just gonna go with Grave Robber and like I don't know. I literally don't know. When Bungie buffs this perk situation, it's either going to be Swash or Surrounded for me. The final special weapon, Forbearance, the other wave frame grenade launcher released this season, seems like it has a lot of options, and then you see Chain Reaction and you realize, nope, no it does not actually have a lot of options. Ambitious Assassin and Chain Reaction is what I will be crafting, and there's almost nothing else that really needs to be said here. You could do Ambitious Rampage, I think that's okay, like on Deafening Whisper back in Season 12. If you want to try Stats for All, One for All on this, you can certainly try. I am not going to bother. The only other thing that might turn some heads here is Unrelenting and Chain Reaction, since it's feasible to get multi-kills with this gun in a single shot, enough to proc Unrelenting. That doesn't really do a whole lot for me, so AA and Chain is what I'm going to be doing, and I am not looking back. Volatile Launch and High Velocity rounds are going to be my minor perks. Not much else to say here. Finally, we have Cataclysmic, the Solar Linear Fusion, the first Solar Linear since Season 12, and probably the first good solar linear fusion rifle ever, not to mention the only potential challenger to something like Threaded Needle. Linear fusions are still very good weapons. Super popular choice in endgame still. This linear comes with 4th times the charm. That is very, very good for boss damage, for champions, for anything that can survive 4 linear fusion shots in a row. That is perk numero uno for me, with the follow-up likely being Focused Fury for the damage boost. I think 4th times and Clown Cartridge is also an interesting choice purely in terms of uptime. Like if you're hitting every shot, you'll maybe reload once, but also if you hit every shot with 4 times the charm, you're also going to be shooting a very long time anyway. I'm taking the damage boost regardless. High impact reserves is a good alternative if you're not super confident in your ability to crit, I guess. It's less risky, technically speaking, but I'm taking Focused Fury. The only thing about 4th times the charm is that you really got to hit those shots, and if you're not able to hit crits consistently, then you could maybe go with something else. The issue is that there's not that much else to really use in that first slot. Enhanced battery for more shots. If you're perfect with your shooting, I don't think you really super need it, and you could go with accelerated coils instead. But is it ultimately going to matter that much? Like, is there ever really going to be a moment where this is a complete difference maker? I don't think so. The odds are so incredibly low, so whichever one you want. And again, I'm taking Arrowhead for the recoil control, but controlling a linear fusion, not really that difficult. That's what I'm crafting from the raid. As usual, if you're crafting something neat, let the people know in the comments. Share the knowledge. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you next time.